numbers say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? 9,000!
This scene is without question the biggest meme to have ever come out of Dragon Ball, a show that has an intergalactic legendary prophecy, fusion through dance, and men that literally scream their eyebrows off. The most meme-worthy moment in Dragon Ball history is a large buff man asking for the reconfirmation of strength statistics of a smaller, less buff man. But did you know that this is actually a mistranslation, and that there are tons of different interpretations of this scene? Today I want to take a look at and review 4 different versions of this scene, in order to figure out which is the king of the memes in your eyes. Going in order of release, I will first take a look at the original manga chapter from 1989, the original Japanese broadcast from the same year, followed by the English Ocean dub from 1997, capping it all off with Dragon Ball Z Kai's redubbed version from the year 2010. However, before we dive into this, I want you to vote for your favorite right now. Which do you think was the best? Click the top right. I ask this now because at the end of the video, I want you to vote again. It'll be the exact same poll, and I want to see if this video made you change your mind or if it reinforced your current pick. And so, with that explained, let's get the show rolling, with the very first time this legendary scene hit the public eye. And to do that, we need to go all the way back to the streets of Japan in the late 1980s. Dragon Ball Chapter 224 was released on March 19th via Weekly Shonen Jump in 1989. Titled Son Goku, Quiet Anger, this was written and drawn entirely by Akira Toriyama. The chapter itself acts as the original scene of these events and is 14 pages long. The events of this chapter unfold right after Piccolo's sacrifice in defense of Gohan, taking the full brunt of Nappa's attack before collapsing to the floor and dying. Right as Gohan was about to be crushed, in a quick flash of light he finds himself at a safe distance from the action, sitting comfortably on the Nimbus Cloud. Goku has returned. The cover art of this chapter sees an enraged Goku surrounded by friends and allies that have sacrificed their lives in order to buy time for him to arrive. The first thing we see is a full-page spread of Goku staring down Nappa. Both relieved and shocked to see him, Krillin and Gohan greet Goku while Vegeta and Nappa poke, taunt, and tease. Goku, however, doesn't even acknowledge them, walking right up to Nappa as he checks Piccolo's vitals. Piccolo. He died trying to save me! Tenshinhan. Yamcha. Don't tell me you're shocked to find your lame friends are dead. Come to think of it, there was another one, blown to pieces. So Chaozu too. And Kami! His power is increasing steadily. Hey, what is it, ready to die already? Well, here's my way of saying hello! Huh? In a flash, Goku is no longer in front of Nappa, but a decent distance behind him, guiding his son over to Krillin, lying beaten in the dirt. Crouching down, extending his hand, Goku reveals the last sensu bean split in 2. Krillin says that it would be a waste of time for him to take it and that he should save it for himself. However, Goku, concerned for his friend, says, "Quit worrying. If you're not going to eat it, I'm just going to throw it away." Gohan and Krillin accept the offer and climb to their feet. Goku does all of this with his back turned to Nappa and Vegeta, the former feeling incredibly angered by this sign of disrespect. Krillin fills Goku in on all that has transpired since his death, explaining how monstrous fighting just one of these guys was, and continues on by saying that if 3 of them were to fight together, they should be able to take down one of them before they all die. But Goku has a different plan, for them to get far away from here and to fight them alone. There will be no mercy for you, you bastard! Huh? Power 7,000? 8,000? It can't be! Huh? Vegeta, what was Kakarot's power again? Over 8,000! 8,000?! It's a mistake, it's broken! Don't worry, I won't use the Kaioken on you yet. Kaioken? You'll never be a match for me! As quickly as Nappa lunges forward with an enormous strike, Goku immediately counterattacks faster than the fighter can detect, moving behind him and striking the back of his head before he even notices that he moved. Vegeta is shocked, as are Krillin and Gohan, but Nappa isn't happy. And that's the end of this chapter. Now that we have the original scene under our belts, let's see how the animated versions compare. Starting with the very first. The original Japanese broadcast. Original release, November 29th, 1989. Titled Ferocity of the Saiyans, Kame-sama and Piccolo both die. This episode covers more than just one chapter of the manga. Primarily it covers this chapter, however it also includes the end of the previous and the start of the next. And one of the things that comes with many anime adaptations is filler. And this episode has some. Not a lot, but some. This is filler that serves no purpose other than to pad the runtime. There is no conclusion to this gang at the Kame House subplot, and it never plays into the greater story, primarily because Akira Toriyama didn't write it to be part of the story. However, this is anime, there will always be some filler to be fair, and there isn't that much of it here. When we get back to the canon part of the story, it's adapted quite faithfully from a dialogue point of view and visually for the most part. One of the detractors was that the anime provided angles that weren't nearly as interesting as what the manga provided. The anime seems to be a lot flatter in many ways, most likely for ease of animation. This might not matter to many of you and might be a deal breaker for others. Once the sensu beans have been distributed to Gohan and Krillin, Goku turns to Nappa and begins to power up. A beautiful pulsating aura animation is present around Goku, and as Vegeta's scouter reads his power level, Nappa inquires,
カカロットの戦闘力はいくつですか ?8000 以上だ
The episode continues into the next chapter that sees much more action, and comparing it to the manga, there are some really great adaptations and some truly terrific cuts of animation. Burning through much of the following chapter in minutes as we watch Gohan, Krillin, and Vegeta in shock and awe as Goku styles on Nappa. Masako Nozawa plays the role of Goku, Ryo Horikawa voices Vegeta, and Shozo Rizuka lends his voice to the character of Nappa. They all do a terrific job in their roles, but this might not be the version of the scene you're all familiar with. The next one, however, very well might be. The Ocean Dub. Original release, April 19th, 1997. Over 7 years after its original air date in Japan, folks in the West finally got an English dub of this scene. Titled The Return of Goku, as native English speakers, the first thing you might be surprised with regarding this dub is its casting. Brian Drummond plays Vegeta, Michael Dobson plays Nappa, and Peter Kalamis plays Goku.
Hey, you want me? You got me.
Before Funimation decided to take things into their own hands in the late 1990s, they outsourced to a dubbing studio in Vancouver, Canada called Ocean Studios. These were the original English voice actors for the characters and just so happened to be the original voice actors present in the meme that spread across the web.
But Nappa, watch it! That kid's power level is at 3000!
And yes, you might have noticed at this point that this is a mistranslation. The two power readings that are made in this episode, 3000 and over 9000, are both mistranslations. Gohan's power during this time is read as 2800 and Goku's eventual power-up is to over 8000. In addition to those mistranslations, dialogue across the board was altered to varying degrees. For instance,
I'm phasing into another dimension. Wish me back, okay?
in the original, he was scolding him for not getting out of danger when he was told to. However, the Ocean dub took every conceivable course of action to make this action shonen as kid-friendly as possible for English-speaking audiences, resulting in death scenes with awkward, confusing dialogue about dimensions and being wished back. I mean, in this particular scenario, Piccolo's death has a direct story consequence. When Piccolo dies, the Dragon Balls die too, and he knows that. So narratively, it makes no sense for him to say this at all. In addition to this, decent efforts were made to remove blood where possible. However, all of that aside, it also gave us this.
It's over 9,000!
Over the following decades, this particular scene would become one of the most, if not the most popular Dragon Ball quote of all time. And to think, it was a mistranslation.
There's no way that can be right! Cut it!
And so with that, it's time for Dragon Ball Kai. Original release, June 21st, 2009, June 7th, 2010. Entitled Tears Shed by Piccolo, Son Goku's Furious Counterattack, the driving forces behind the Dragon Ball Kai redub of the series was to essentially have a recut, streamlined version of the original run of the Dragon Ball anime, aiming to cut out much of the filler portions to the story where possible. And they did entirely. The filler that was present in the prior two adaptations were removed, which means no more Fortune Teller Baba scenes at Kame House. However, due to the streamlined nature of this particular iteration, instead of covering roughly 2 chapters of the manga, it adapts almost 4, spanning from Piccolo's sacrifice all the way up until right before Vegeta enters the fight. It's a pretty dense episode in terms of content. The Japanese version of the scene is as faithful as ever, and so I will be focusing here on the English. The English voice of Goku in this version is Sean Schemmel, Vegeta is Christopher Sabat, and Nappa is Phil Parson. The Japanese cast saw Nozawa and Horikawa reprising their roles of Goku and Vegeta, with the role of Nappa being recast to Tetsu Inada. The animation and overall presentation is wonderful, with the English voice actors getting their chance to correct what was widely known as a mistake among many fans of the series.
It's over 8,000!
And so this is where things get really interesting. Now that I have broken down the original manga chapter from 1989, the original Japanese broadcast from the same year, the Ocean Studios dub from 1997, and the Dragon Ball Kai versions of the series from 2009 and 2010, I would like to present you with the opportunity to cast your vote for a second time. Click here and let us know which interpretation of the events outlined you think presented it best. Did your opinion change, or did it stay the same? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really curious to see which meme you thought was best. If you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe. I upload every Thursday. And don't forget to leave a like or dislike on the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week.